What is going on, y'all? It says my stream. Let's see. It says I'm unstable. Average bitrate too high? What the fuck does that mean? What? View details in Twitch Inspector. Oh my god, shut the fuck up, dude. Live, no delay. What's up, Firm? Now it says I'm stable. I don't know what the fuck is happening. My preview looks fine. Yeah. Well. Oh. Say hello if you're there. Hello, hello. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Why is it? Does the stream seem okay? Does the stream quality seem okay? Is it choppy at all? Am I dropping? I don't seem like I'm dropping. I don't think. It's very odd. I'm still connected to chat as well, clearly. Okay. I don't know. Oh. How y'all doing? It's been very hot in Cologne. I'm not gonna lie. I've just been working and tearing down my fucking room. Good shit. Oh shoot, that's not good. It's funny, when I came back from America, inspected my bike. I don't know what I was expecting, but like, I've never seen my tires get this flat. Just completely deflated. Over the 3 months I was there. Should I lower my bitrate slightly? Maybe. That doesn't seem necessary. But like, Twitch OBS recommended bitrate. Don't go over 6K. I don't know, the stream is probably fine, right? Okay, yeah, that's definitely a little more serious, yeah, for sure. Because usually my tires, they last a while. You I refill them like maybe once a month, every 2 months. I do get worried, like, when I brake really hard, that I just get a sudden drop-off or something. I'm a little paranoid about that. Hello, it says 9 viewers in chat. I mean, there's an ad in progress, so maybe you can't fucking see this. Chili, what up? Have we all been playing the wrong Kojima game? I mean, his other games are great. Also, I mean, Zone of the Enders, I'm not sure he was that involved with it. I don't want to credit it as a Kojima game necessarily. I like saying Kojima Productions. Obviously there's something very narcissistic about naming the company after, like, yourself. Like, no matter which way you slice it. What the fuck what? No matter which way you slice it, you're gonna mention his name. But obviously there's a lot of staff between the old Koji Pro and the new Koji Pro that sort of persisted. And are clearly very talented. Oh. Let me get on. I should probably get one of those. When I move, I should probably get one of those key lights or something, or ring lights, or whatever the fuck they are. Let me... Okay, let me put this in the back. Okay. Awesome. So yeah, literally, I just put the Mac equivalent of Microsoft Paint in the background. Just a white canvas, and now it looks like I'm nicely lit. Hello, everybody. Hello, chat. Say hello if you're there. Say hello if you want. We're about to get going. Still, like, again, let me know if the stream is, like, choppy at all. It keeps saying it's unstable. I don't know why. It should be fine. Twitch. Stream health. Unstable. But seems fine. Both are pretty stable. The Twitch labels every high bitrate is unstable. I'm not, so once we get through the Let's Argue recording, I might play some. I have one idea for something we could play. But while I'm talking, I'm not gonna play anything. I want this, like, I don't want this to feel like, just a Twitch fucking highlight or anything, yeah. I do want this to feel like a regular episode, like Let's Argue, kind of like back in the day. And maybe I'll pull in chat, for some stuff, but, yep. Okay, let me lower the bitrate to 5999. Hot Pocket, what up? You can... MGS5 has great pacing. It's still unstable. It's still reading as unstable. Okay, you know what? This probably doesn't fucking matter at all. I'll just change it back. Fuck it. Okay. Here we go. Yeah. When I'm gonna clap you, I'm bumping that. Pumping that. Speaking of Kojima, I just started playing Death Stranding yesterday. So interesting so far. My first question is why is no one covering their face? I think you just have to accept it. You just have to accept It's like, it's just this weird fucking movie logic of like, yeah, this should be insanely important. It is conveyed by the setting as insanely important, and yet they're not actually careful about it at all. And most of the time it's fine. It's just you're just supposed to forget about it immediately. It's stupid. Just sat through 7 ads. Yeah, Twitch is crazy like that. Okay. I'll really quickly. Let me. I'll do some. I'll advertise myself a little bit. This should be okay, right? Yeah. Okay. So, if you watched my new channel update, you'll know I've made some updates to my Ko-fi and like just my overall approach to YouTube. We're gonna go fucking hog wild in the near future. Okay, my monitor is definitely not calibrated correctly because like, wait, is it my monitor? Is that the problem? I don't fucking know what's going on here. No, it's definitely my monitor. Oh my god, this shit is insane. Wait a second. Gamma? No. Color temperature? No. Contrast. Oh my god. Whoa. That's insane. Y'all, you know, this, y'all are not gonna see this on stream, but like, holy shit. Half of the panels on this website were not fucking visible on my monitor. Man. Yeah, this is insane, dude. Okay. This looks closer to correct. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. So, I put in 2 new items in the shop, the rand requests and the reaction requests. So for $10, I will react to a video of your choice on stream. Has to be 25 minutes or less. Again, just DM me whatever video you want me to see, or just post in chat after you do the thing. And also, the thing I'm excited about is the rand requests. If y'all remember, I hope this doesn't count as dead naming the person, but Trixie the Golden Witch, she used to do a series called, you know, The Rant Hole, and she would just rant about random topics that people would send her. And this shit was like, this was such a fucking guilty pleasure. This was my favorite thing to watch. Let me put on one of them. So if you want me to do this, then just send me $5 and I'm off to the races. You're in the Temple of the Rants. I don't know, I just say Trixie. I know Trixie's like her current name, so I had to type in her dead name, well, her old creator name, basically. I'm sure she's not super squeamish about it. I think it's probably fine. Gouda takes Trixie. What's up, Knova? Okay. No audio. Wait, I'm fucking muted. I'm stupid. It's like, what are you gonna do? Like, how are you gonna talk about it? I don't know.
You're in the rant wormhole, where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one is for Kajoro Bitterthorn, who says, rant about the life of Pablo and Ye. I listened to both of them for the first time recently, but never heard a full Kanye album before, only heard his popular singles. I hate most rap music, but I really liked these 2 albums. You and Fantano hated it when it came out. He changed his mind, said the final version is great. What are your updated thoughts on it? When it comes to the life of Pablo, I still pretty much feel the same, even after hearing the fully updated version.
What a bad take. Okay. I'll have better takes than this. Trust me. Wait, what was the one? Uh, wait. Oops, I can't type.
You are in the Temple of the Rants, wearing our.
You are in the Temple of the Rats. Dude, that shit was iconic. That shit was fucking iconic. Oh my god. I binged that shit on Unreal, man. That was my favorite thing to wake up to my sub box. So if you want those vibes back, $5, Ko-fi.com/Zebra. You know what I'm saying?
Rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one is for $15 a month plus.
And she wanted $15. I just want 5. So
You can get one of these by being one of those. This one's for 4Thou, who says, rant about being gay as shit with your boys, no homo. You know, I've always been.
that's a little problematic. That phrase just now is a little problematic. But that's okay. What a weird time. anyone nostalgic for that era of Trixie the Golden Witch? Anyone sort of a fan of her content back in the day? I don't know. See, I feel weird that I turned the music off, but I'll have to have it off because because it's not gonna work for YouTube otherwise. I feel like I probably watched all of them, dude. Like, it's damn. Okay. Let's get into arguing. Let's get into shitting on y'all takes. No, actually, I got really good takes. I got some really fun, interesting takes. I will say, a couple of y'all sent me multiple takes. I'll just pick one of them for each of y'all. And I'm sorry, Firm, for example, I know you said pick this one. I won't do that. I'll just pick the one that I think has the most clickbait potential. I'm sorry. Maybe I'll revisit some of the other takes in the future that I didn't pick now. It's also that I think one other thing y'all should pay attention to is just try to formulate it as concisely as possible, because like a whole ass paragraph, like going into a lot of detail and like um just having these like very labyrinthian sentences, that's not gonna read well on YouTube. So that might. I mean, I didn't get so many questions this time that I could be that picky, but that might affect my decision making. That I will pick the most concise, kind of hard hitting questions. Um, but yeah. So let's do this. I'm gonna do a little YouTube intro. Y'all can say hello YouTube in chat if y'all feel fucking um so inclined. Oh, Darius, what up? Okay. Hello YouTube. This is Let's Argue, where I react to your hot takes, unpopular opinions, and tough questions. You can post them here under this video for the next episode, and then I will react to those then. As you can see, this is being recorded live. Hi YouTube, what's up? Haven't done one of these in a while. Let's get cooking with our first take from Firm. While I'm long past drinking the Souls Combat Kool-Aid, I think a lot of critics of it are equally reductive in describing it as roll plus R1 when playing as a melee build. Elden Ring took clear steps to try and make it so this wasn't the case, with stuff like charged heavies and weapon arts being more viable. That, plus a lot of attacks being able to be strafed and or outpaced, so if you're playing the standard dodge and melee setup, you'll feel a difference using those. I'm still not hugely impressed by it, but critics of the game's combat should still come from an informed angle. I think this is a reasonable take. This is a fair take. I can't really disagree with this. especially I think the last part, you should come at things from an informed angle, does contextualize it. I think there is a culture of seeing a popular movement, a hype movement, and then just kind of getting swept up with it, get it going along with it, not thinking about it too hard, and that is kind of annoying. And I do think Elden Ring, in fairness, it it does a little more by just giving you a wider variation of attacks with, larger or slightly different hitboxes at least. Um, or attacks that do a little more hit stun. I definitely distinctly noticed that. I noticed trade-offs between, okay, I'm gonna dual wield now, I'm gonna switch to this weapon art, I have to unequip the shield to do the thing, and blah. That is sort of neat, but we really are scraping the bottom of the barrel a little bit, right? By trying to find those scraps of goodness in the combat, I think. I one thing I thought about is that one thing I thought about is that with most 3D combat action games, it's very rare that the thing people talk about is the boss fights or one v one fights in general. Usually, when we talk about the most legendary kind of 3D action melee combat games, like Bayonetta, DMC4, Ninja Gaiden 2, God Hand, we cite all the mob fights as examples, right? We talk about the moment to moment combat um that you go through in these games, and hmm, that just naturally lends itself to very oh fuck. See, I have to think about it like a little bit how I'm gonna present this on YouTube. But that's okay. How pocket cutting and most casual people talk about those boss fights. I mean, you're right. I think, but that's also. See, I'm gonna make a fucking point transition segue into, yeah, Souls games are very inherently kind of, maybe I'm gonna expound on this, but they're at least on a surface kind of 1v1 focused, and maybe that is also part of their popularity. Um, but generally, when we speak of exemplary design, we think about, oh, games that let you manage crowds, games that have interesting hit states, interesting enemy states, properties, that sort of thing. And I think Souls, with its camera setup and with its, generally kind of subby hitboxes, and with its very a lot of the attacks are very targeted. You don't really have a lot of attacks that feel like they're designed for crowd control very much. And even then, I think as they add more of that stuff on top in games like Elden Ring, you notice that the crusty base underneath it, that again is very much built for these 1v1 locked in encounters, uh, doesn't really bring out the best of that. Um, I think the Souls games, honestly, generally, they don't even really follow the paradigm of, yeah, I'm going between arena and arena, and then I'm thinking about how this encounter was designed, about how enemies like are coming at me from every angle. That's not really how they work. They usually are much more built as like obstacle courses almost, where you're you're going through the seamless flow of situations where enemies are sort of perched in the most nasty, annoying positions, right? And then you have to deal with that however you can. That I think that is sort of the most compelling thing about Souls. There was a tweet from our good buddy Roy about how much he loves the Taurus Demon. I think the Taurus Demon is a perfect example of like, yeah, this is not like a boss with complex behavior or anything, but with how they set up the situation, it feels interesting. It feels like this unique experience, even if it's not that deep. And I think that is much more worth talking about than the, ultimately still relatively shallow mechanics. Yeah, there are dungeon crawlers that had action added to them. I think that's a very fair way of putting it. Gary, what up? Yeah, I think Sifu is like my favorite boss fight action game. Mm. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna make a video about like grinding and avatar strength and all that, and why I'm just not really interested in taking a game with those kinds of elements very seriously. Um, oh shit, Alan, what up? Um, is this is this my cue to like make I don't know. I want to go into you being like in a cute girl's account, you know? I want to I want to say something about that, but Yulia, what's up? Oh, let's go. Okay, y'all. Let me pick out the next take to dismantle. Um Actually, Hot Pocket, your take earlier. Oh my, I'm sweating so fucking much by the way. Um that shit took me out. Wait, let me Alan, you already know that I think you're cute. That's not a that's no secret. I always kiss the homies on the mouth. Yulia asking what happened. Alan is just is not using his own account, and I think it's funny. Okay. Hot Pocket asks, is Doom 2016 better than Vanquish? This is a true Ziad lore deep cut. This is something that I said. And I kicked this around in my head a little bit. I thought about this for a minute. I don't know exactly what was wrong with me at the time. I think I got swept up in the fact that Doom 2016 is kind of a very pure and cohesive work when you're looking at it overall. Like, yes, there's a lot of elements to it that are kind of suspect, right? But at the time, I think, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels this way, right? It was hard not to get swept up by the fact that it rejected a lot of the Gen 7 trends. It did not have a lot of set pieces. It did not have any, well, not a lot of like sort of forced story sequences or anything like that.
Epsilon Eagle $10 says, congratulations on your new place.
Oh my god, Epsilon Eagle, thank you so much. Like, that shit, I've told the story a couple times before, but that shit was clutch as hell. I'm very excited to move. Fuck yeah, dude. So, I think with Doom 2016, the aesthetic of it, the idea of the glory kill as, like, the idea as a mechanic, not the mechanic itself, the idea as a mechanic and what it kind of represents, the way that feels, the way the game itself overall feels, the aggression and the rage that the game kind of puts forward. I think on that level it was just too likable of a game and it felt like this big cultural moment in that sense. And I made a big mistake. Obviously, as an actual game, with a couple years of hindsight, with a cooler head, I could say, yeah, Vanquish is just it's just a much better game. It's a much better considered game, even if it has. I think even the Gen 7 shit, like the totem set pieces, the sniper shit, not that bad. Honestly, kind of cute. Great campaign. I guess honestly at the time I was a little mad about Vanquish. I was like one of those, if Vanquish had a jump button, wouldn't that be sick? I was one of those guys a little bit. And I was a little bit in my sort of rigidity slash movement fucking era, right? Where Doom 2016, I'm not gonna say that game has movement or anything, but it is a little more loosey goosey than something like Vanquish. And again, at the time, I was wrong. Okay, that was a bad take. See, fuck it, just rub it in, dude. Just rub it in. Let me the fucking yeah. See, I know what this is referencing as well. Honestly, yeah, it is a classic example of a game that under we're in the moment. It feels like this moment again, like I said. But in hindsight, it's like there was a lot fucking wrong with it, and I don't want to really get into that. I don't want to get super into detail, but yeah. The fucking goal meter is like, um, there we go. Dodging a lot of Vanquish is kind of annoying as action. What do you mean? I mean, Gary, you can still put a comment on the YouTube video, cause I'm only pulling questions from YouTube or Twitter, and then so this is gonna be cut into a YouTube video later, like a 15-minute video on my channel, and then you can like watch it there. Um, but yeah, I'm not gonna take in too much feedback from the chat right now. Uh, you won't be able to retort. Yeah, exactly. Like this is not the point of the segment. Yeah. I saw that as well. I thought that was a great take. Yeah, I really like that perspective because it actually is interesting just how much you wouldn't think the Doom games, even like Doom 3 or Doom Eternal or games like that, would be as influential as they actually end up being. It's sort of crazy. Um, Visually irritating. You know what? I sort of get that. Okay, let me queue up the next take. Um, God, there's a couple I really like. Okay, Kevin, I'm gonna go with you. Uh, I have to think about this one a little more though. Wait, um, okay. Kevin says Valve is overrated. Aside from their more grassroots multiplayer publishing outputs, Counter-Strike, Dota, TF2, etc., Valve's main claim to fame is successfully making the iTunes of PC games. Half-Life feels like a Quake mod with unskippable cutscenes. Half-Life 2 is a good launcher for Ravenholm. And Portal is like 80% a tutorial. So, the thing about this take is that, honestly, a lot, a lot of the specific things in there, honestly, are a little hard to dispute. Especially I think Portal is one of those games where, upon closer examination, the thing that people always praise about it is how it guides you through its experience and like how seamless it is and all that shit, right? People very rarely talk about the puzzles being the most spatially insane thing to figure out, right? That might be kind of telling, right? Um, I think Half-Life 2 is interesting because at least in the hardcore gamer bubble, the sentiment around it is getting a little bit colder, and it has been getting colder for a while. I think on mainstream fucking Twitter, in the journo bubble, whatever, you would still be considered a crazy person if you said Half-Life 2 was mid or overrated, right? So I think you have a case that um you have a valid case that maybe the public sentiment is too heavily skewed in the positive direction and not really analyzing the games too much. Um, Portal, fuck, Portal is like that Ego Raptor analysis of Mega Man X opening stage for the whole game. That is so mean, but that is kind of the fucking the take I have in the back of my mind. Honestly, thinking about it now, and I like the purity of Valve's games. I like the way they feel, if that makes sense. I think on a very surface level, there's something kind of special about that. Yeah, Absolute Eagle. I think I actually would like to revisit Portal for the experience, especially because it's such a short playthrough. It feels very tight. I think as an experience, it still probably holds up. Maybe not the again, like I implied earlier, the complexity of the puzzles probably isn't there, but I don't know. Half-Life 1 is the one I'm the most curious about because I think it does have the unskippable cutscenes and kind of rigidity syndrome. It's not a game that you're gonna play for. It's not like a Resident Evil 4 or something where, oh my god, I want to play this encounter again, or I want to play that encounter again. I want to try something different with AI. It is about, okay, I'm going through this fucking linear, very tightly choreographed experience. I I think on those merits, Valve still kind of do it better than a lot of other developers. They do it in a very mechanical and pure way that I appreciate, more so than maybe, I don't know, a lot of those Sony studios, for example. I think a lot about how Valve removed the difficulty flags for entities in the map editor for Half-Life. That's crazy. Let me ban this fucking spam bot. There we go. Now, Half-Life 2 is the one, again, like I sort of implied earlier, is probably that probably warrants the most re-examination. I still get people play that game now and be really into it though. I still see that. So I think maybe it is just a sensibility thing. I really want to check out Alex. Honestly, I'm very curious about it. I guess honestly, I think Kevin, I see what you're saying about the individual quality of each game, of each respective game. But I kind of respect Valve's um just texture and language in how they make their games a little too much to be comfortable calling them overrated. I think there is a clear hmm, what's the word I'm looking for? I think Valve, they give me the sense that they are led by very strong sort of beliefs in game design and very strong intuitions about game design that you feel very intuitively in their games. And that is just something that I personally value a lot, even if in practice it doesn't result in games that hold up insanely well. At least I think again, as someone who hasn't played half of Alex, I would be surprised if that game didn't try to like seriously push things forward the same way Half-Life 2 tried the same thing, the same way Portal tried the same thing, the same way TF2 tried the same thing. Um and yeah, that level of effort to me is very valuable. Okay. Let me pick up the next tag. Absent Eagle, I'm gonna go with you next. Um, Oops. For those wondering, I'm using the software called PureRef to line up the windows and all that. It's pretty good. You can put it in chat as well. It's so good. Okay. Epson Eagle says Capcom is remaking too many games, ruining their legacy in the process. Ooh, okay. For a while, I used to be in the camp that, yeah, well, remakes are kind of inherently different games, so it doesn't really matter, right? You can just treat it as a separate thing and just not care about it, and because it is effectively a new thing, the argument that it's taking away resources from potentially other things doesn't hold up on a surface level, right? That is definitely something I believed for a while. Now that we're staring in the face the possibility that, okay, the next 5 Resident Evil games will be remakes, I'm not so sure about that anymore. So, okay, these are interesting takes in chat. Aren't they just bringing an older classic to a modern audience? Well, no, because they're making a different game. It's just a completely different game, right? Like, you didn't, with RE4 Remake, you didn't bring RE4 to new audiences because it's a different game, right? You brought the aesthetic and the idea of RE4 to a new audience, I guess. But I think you see the capitalist interest in that a little too much, right? They're obviously they see the brand power of Resident Evil 4 specifically individually, and then they want to capitalize on that. I can really see it as this artistic motive of, oh my god, we want to widen the appreciation for this specific game, because then you would just make a really good port of RE4, right? If that was your goal. I don't think their remakes are gentrifying the old games, considering you can still buy a version of original RE4 on PSN and the remake. Yeah, I think that is something I value and respect. But anecdotally speaking, again, I don't know statistics on this, right? But anecdotally speaking, I have seen people be like, "Oh, well, I'm not gonna play the original because it might spoil my experience with the remake, right? I wanna play the remake as a stand-in for the original game, and then I'm probably never gonna play the original." And that type of person probably wouldn't have played an old crusty PS1 game ever to begin with. So, uh, maybe nothing was lost in that process. But, But I guess I wish, rather than making remakes, we'd spend more effort somehow on making those older games more appealing. I don't know what that looks like exactly. But I want to make a dedicated video about this, but this idea of access to games, to old games, or to the entire history of games, is sort of a weird conundrum to me, because I don't I wish we had more statistics on who is actually utilizing that access, how many people are accessing old games on a regular basis. Is that actually something that is valuable? Is someone who's an enthusiast and who actually inherently cares about the history of games, right? They probably would inherently seek out a more authentic way to play those older games. The fact that I can buy RE4 on the PS4, original RE4, is that even valuable to me? Like, no, not really. I I want to know how many Warzone normies that think the remake looks cool would hop on RE4 original. I don't know. Like that's something I'm really curious about. Um Also, yeah. I mean, I was implying this earlier, but yeah, I think it's not unplayable, but GameCube or bust, honestly. Um. Um. So about the idea of the remakes ruining Capcom's legacy overall. Um. I don't think that is true. I think arguably Capcom are in their platinum era right now, actually. And I mean platinum era in the sense that, maybe their golden era was like the arcade era or something. And then they had a big slump sort of in Gen 7, and now they're kind of back. At least that's sort of what the public sentiment is. You might not personally agree with it, but um right now the vibe is Capcom are popping off, they can do no wrong, right? That's what seems to be the vibe on social media and all that shit. I think the average person like couldn't care less how well preserved a game like the original RE2 or the original RE4 is. So I don't know. It's really difficult. I um Again, for me, the real turning point was the realization that wow, all the original REs are kind of bad now. Again, like Village was insanely poor in my opinion, and that all this effort is pumped into rehashing older concepts with sort of watered down results, and that's not how I would want Capcom to run personally. Mm. Yeah, they're in their post. See, I that again that pun occurred to me as well when I said it, so that's why I had to clarify. Yeah, Kunitsugami. It's weird. I haven't played it yet, but a lot of people seem sort of disappointed with it, which is kind of sad. It's sad that this like super original surprise concept doesn't actually land that hard with the gamers. Clearly, we need Capcom to make a console. CPS4, dude. Ugh. Okay. But I think ultimately I do agree on a very subjective god level they're remaking two games. I do feel that. Okay, let me see what other takes we have cooking. Oh, they released DMC Peak of Combat. What's up, Bobs? Oh. Um, yeah, I had a couple good ones on Twitter as well. Extra Primal, that seemed kind of like a hoot. I kind of wanna give that a shot. Okay. Oh, I'm sweating. Yeah, Dead Rising. I don't know. I think the idea of it is sort of cool, but I'm getting less excited for it the more I see it. It looks pretty watered down, honestly. I mean, Susie was saying that it's way too easy. And it's funny because like the way she put it is like, yeah, all these quality of life enhancements are so great, but also, the game is kind of easy now. It's like you're so close to making the point. Okay. Darius says, The Last of Us fuck. Let me try again. Darius says, The Last of Us movie game bad. Fuck, how do I want to lead into this? Ferment, I'm gonna say really quickly, I mean, the thing you have to realize is that remaster, remake, all that shit inherently doesn't mean anything. Like, they don't have hard to find, you know, meanings, those terms. Fucking Shadow of the Colossus is considered a remake, but it's the same code underneath. It's yeah, but I mean Dead Rising Remastered, it seems to have a lot of sort of underlying shit from the original. But then they build new stuff kind of on top. Zia trying not to defend post Uncharted audio games. Okay. Let me Okay, I got it. Darius says, The Last of Us movie game bad. I realize this is a little bit of a troll. You're trying to rile me up a little bit. This is, again, this super fucking anecdotal, dumb discourse shit. Where you may have seen this. Again, I hate sort of talking about nebulous groups of people in my bubble that I see on my timeline or whatever. It's one of the silliest things to do and get upset about. I hate to be that guy. But I have to be that guy right now, I'm sorry. I hate all the Japan gamers. Their favorite thing to do is doing the low effort dunks on Sony games for being movies. And then they see the exact same design choices in like FF7R or something, and they're like, "Oh, so true." I was going in on this on Twitter myself earlier, and I think The Last of Us 1 specifically, right? The thing that really sticks out to me as a cool bit of storytelling in that game, and I hope I'm not getting too deep into spoilers, but if you don't want to hear anything, maybe tune off for a little bit. One of the coolest things in a game to me still is the way you start playing as Sarah, Joel's daughter. You get into this car accident, and then the perspective switches to Joel. He's carrying her in his arms. And then, later stuff happens, and then Joel's by itself, and then you play him for the rest of the game, right? And then at the very end of the game, you get to the hospital, you save Ellie, carry her in your arms, again, carry her in your... Sorry, my inflection was bad. You carry her in your arms, take her out of the hospital, take her in, take her with you in your car, drive to the forest, she wakes up, and then you take back control of Ellie. And it's this perfect little loop, with the way the story starts and closes out. This mirror situation where it beautifully and wordlessly communicates like a theme and a visual motif, right? In a way that is actually impossible in a movie. It seems like such a simple thing that it's so simple that it may not even have occurred to you that this is happening in the game, right? That this is a valid sort of reading of the game that is happening there. And it's like, how the fuck would you even do this in a movie? You can't. Like, you can't communicate. You could like envision a film where it's following this one character now, primarily, and then it's following this other character primarily, but that doesn't really make intuitive sense the way just taking control of the character does as the player with your fucking hands, right? So the accusation that these games are purely movie envy and Oscar bait and all that shit is just so fucking stupid. If you play them for 5 seconds, you know that there's clearly some kind of understanding going on for uh trying to express things with games, with mechanics, with the form, with structure, with perspective. And I guess I do wonder if maybe the secret sauce was having I hate auteur worship, but having Neil Druckmann and Bruce Straley as a team. Maybe Bruce Straley to rein in Druckmann a little bit. Because in Last of Us 2, that game was entirely directed by Druckmann, and I feel like that game has a much more awkward handle on this exact thing, where again it tries to express things through interactivity and like perspective and all that shit, and just it feels much more forced, much more awkward. Um, I just get really annoyed at the movie game accusations or at the movie game dunks because it's clearly not done in an effort to actually say anything constructive of the games. It's done to perpetuate a narrative and to do some form of a fucking gaming culture war. And it's the stupidest fucking thing. Let me read the chat. Um, uh, Ashes, I think that is a fair take, actually. That was a fair observation. It's not quite as clean. But then again, I mean, that section in itself is really cool, so. Um, like that is another example though, right? Of a thing where they I think if you did the same thing in a movie, the idea of oh my god, what happened to Joel? Again, to be clear, Joel is injured, and then the next thing you do is you play as Ellie for a little bit, and you're like, oh my god, like what the fuck happened? She's like hunting on her own. What the fuck's happening? If you cut to that in a film, I feel like the sense of oh my god, what happened to Joel wouldn't be as palpable. That it's not something that would occur to you like that because in a movie it's very normal to cut away to switch to a different character. You know, that inherently doesn't carry as much weight as it does in a game. So doing this in a game, I think the way they communicated it, the way they paced it, shows I think a pretty deft hand with that sort of thing. And you see it all over The Last of Us 1. You see it all over the fucking game. Again, the one reveal, I don't want to spoil it, but I'm gonna say the animals, right? Or the final encounter with, in the at the end of the hospital section, the final, you know what I'm talking about, right? There was a part where they had it as a cutscene at first, and then they were like, what if we made this interactive actually? And it's purely mechanical. It's just using the same, just exact verbs, the exact same controls as the rest of the game. And I think that was a really bold choice to do it that way. And that clearly that moment upset a lot of people. And I think that shows that. I mean, that necessarily doesn't show anything, right? But I think just having that sensibility, um, puts it above just being a fucking movie. Just a movie envy fucking game. 7 out of 10. Oh. Yeah. Okay. the setup is like kind of bad. I can't, like, obviously when I have this on the screen, it covers the chat, and then I forget. That's so bad. Um. Uh. So okay, my take on Last of Us 2 is kind of nuanced. I I really liked the first half. I was really into the first half. I was not into the second half at all, even at the time. And then the ending was something the ending was something I was like sort of okay with at the time, and the more I'm stewing on it, the more I'm like, this sucked, dude. This was really bad. Um, to be clear, and like I don't dislike I'm gonna spoil it real quick. Uh, you have a character switch in the middle of the game, right? You switch to Abby, who is well, I'm not gonna spoil more than necessary, but she is Ellie's adversary, right? She's the main villain of the game, basically. I don't have a problem with that in concept. I just think all her sequences are so insanely set piecey and rigid and limited and just badly paced and um so awkward in what they're trying to convey. Like the fuck, I'm just gonna say the zebra. I mean, come on, dude. Um, that I just couldn't. It just felt so fucking. It's one of the games where the word manipulative is really apt. I think it's uh, it's a game that so ham-fistedly wants to shove like a belief down your throat, and like it doesn't want you to think about situations. It just wants you to feel it. Like it tries to construct them in a way where you feel a certain way. Like Neil Druckmann straight up said it. Like, yeah, I wanted people to experience hate for this person, and even that as a premise is bad because you cannot fucking guarantee that everybody's gonna react that way. And guess fucking what? I didn't react that way. I was not down for all the shit that Ellie did. It's not some. I never questioned my own investment in this revenge quest because I didn't want to go on it. I just thought, yeah, this is insanely stupid. And obviously, then you get into the Israel Palestine metaphor or allegory that's going on there. That so for those who don't know, Neil Druckmann himself is Israeli, and um, I don't want to be reductive about his perspective and like his like clearly I can understand the concept that if you grow up in a certain environment, you may be biased in a certain way, in a certain direction, right? Um, and I haven't seen him really talk about it, right? But um, I want to think that if you talk to him about it, his perspective was probably more nuanced than, yeah, we should unalive all the people in this region. Haha. That's probably not what he believes, right? If I'm being totally fair. But the way it is portrayed in the game is very simplistic and very reductive, right? The the allegorical force for the people of Gaza in the game, they are, oh my god, they're religious zealots and they just want to kill uh they 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 just hate the West and they hate modern Western society and they blah 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 all this shit. It's like it's so fucking stupid, dude. It's um obviously that's like once you make that as an allegory, right? Let me think about this more. Um you could argue that um the premise of the game is inspired by this real world situation And then it doesn't have to be one-to-one representative of it, right? But if it is so insanely close in so many ways, and then I see, well, okay, you're portraying this side in this way, in the way that it is often portrayed in the media, with no additional nuance. Um. Oh, for so for those who can still see this, no, I knew there was an ad going on. I was just too invested. I was just talking too much. Um, like the way the Seraphites in The Last of Us 2 are represented, that is a common interpretation in Western media, right? For the people of Gaza. So the fact that it is that way in the game to me suggests, okay, you actually have no fucking idea what's going on there, and you're very fucking reductive and shitty about it, and you have shitty politics, and it's bad. I like it takes this very just hyper individualistic worldview as well. Like, oh well, the system is bad and like blah, but like individuals are good, and you can fucking correct individuals with empathy, blah blah blah. It's like it's I don't know. The situation in real life is both more complex and much more simple in a way, you know? By the way, none of this is going in the video. None of this is going in the Let's Argue video. Yeah, I think just like the way Ellie kind of executes Nora, for example, is just so, I don't know, it's like, for those who haven't played it, it's, yeah, you brutally murder this defenseless woman in like a QTE sequence, and that is the exact type of thing. That's the exact kind of thing that I mean with it just feels much more awkward, much more heavy-handed than the way Last of Us 1 did it. Or would have expressed this type of thing. Ashes says, the moment when I lost respect for Last of Us was the end with the doctor because I shot him on the toe to not kill him, but the game still killed. I think that's fair. That's a fair complaint. You tried to incapacitate him, and it didn't work. I I guess it's just I can sort of accept it because I have to consider, okay, what feels in character for Joel? For Joel, it feels in character that he would just go all the way, yeah. Um, and in a way, it is respecting my agency in the sense that like you're correct that like no character just dies in the game from like having their toe shot once, but you can, like, it is a video game, right? You can kill people in The Last of Us. You can deplete their health points by just shooting their toe over and over again, which is not how it works in real life, right? That's also not how it works in real life. So to me, it's like, well, once I've crossed that layer of abstraction, I can sort of accept, okay, well, this guy just doesn't want it. But I sort of like, I think in the context of a game, that's just really hard to resolve. That kind of thing. I don't know what the alternative would be. I don't know how you would do this. How you would convey this better. And I think they gained more than they lost by making it interactive. So but I do think it's a fair criticism. It's just a trade-off, yeah. I think those are the most interesting things to critiquing games, where you really can't clearly say what the best way to do it would have been. Where they made a trade-off, clearly. Um, forgot. Fucking Nikki Jake, put it best. Like, she's like the most valuable person in this entire society, and they're making her go to fucking war. Like, it's crazy, bro. Oh. Well, but the problem is that in this, if we're again looking at this allegorical situation, the solution would be go to your fucking voting booth, booth, go to a voting booth, participate in local fucking elections, vote for legislation that uh like supports what you believe in, and that's the type of shit that someone like Neil Druckmann just is not interested in. Yeah, clearly. Um. So yeah. I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Yulia $5 says,
Thank you so much, Yulia, for the $5. But she didn't say anything. Um, do you like Uncharted 4? Was a little too slow for me. I thought I had great moments, but it was a very, very slow game. Oh my god, my neck is fucking murdering me, dude. Okay, let's get back to actually just reading fun hot takes. This is very dark. Um, all right. Puff Pal's gameplay win. Let me think. This one I feel like is a little too complicated. I mean, I'll do this one really quickly. Okay. June says DMC1's ranking system and enemy DT push the player toward using easy lame moves like Air Raid and Inferno with little risk. It's way too easy to knock down loop a lot of enemies and build DT off of them. Leads the player into solving bite-sized missions, functional depth, I think. Still like the game, but DT doesn't play to its strengths slash situational depth. Vortex is sick though. I think you're so wait, the last part, are you referring to, I think you're probably not in chat. I guess the question is, are you referring to enemy DT with the last part or player DT? Because at one point you're talking about enemy DT at the start, but then you're talking about building DT. I'm a little rusty on the game as well in general, so I can't go into super fucking depth. Um, I want to say this seems pretty accurate, but I think um, hmm. What do y'all think in chat, actually? This is one where I would need Ryan for this, honestly. I need his input. Um... my intuition is you're probably right, but I have nothing valuable to say on it. You know what? I'm probably not gonna put this in the video. I'm sorry. I'm probably gonna cut this out of the video, but like because I can't say anything with this. I think my intuition says you're probably right. I did finish on DMD, right? But to be honest, the game did feel pretty consistently challenging to me on DMD. Shut the fuck up. I want to start my DMC3 arc at some point. Um, yeah. It's in the VOD, you know, this VOD, the whole VOD is gonna go up on YouTube, so y'all can see that. I did acknowledge this take. I think this seems like a very knowledgeable take, so I just wanted to include it for that. But again, it's not gonna go in the video. Okay. Let me look for another one. I like this. There's another really spicy one. Um. Okay. Let's go. Accusative asks, VG, or sorry, Accusative asks, video game players' expectations for stories are so low because they rarely experience other mediums. Also, video games often don't elevate storytelling, with it mostly getting in the way. You can count the good examples on one hand. Um, I, I'm careful with these kinds of takes, personally. I think first and foremost, I agree with the first and foremost, I subscribe to the idea that okay, what a good story even is kind of dependent on the medium in the first place, right? Um, we're talking about shit like Gurren Lagann, for example. That's obviously pretty lowbrow entertainment, but it's expressing a feeling and a belief so strongly and so well, and in such an infectious way that I would call that a very successful story, right? I think debating on like even okay, what is a the I the the wording good story is something that I kind of have an issue with in general, right? Like this doesn't fucking we should use the words good and bad a little less, I think, in general. mm. Oh my god. So Ashes has a scorching hot take. People who play games for stories have lower standards for stories than people who play them for the gameplay and who get their narratives from other mediums. That is a dark Zia take. That is something in my heart I do believe, but I've never said this out loud. uh, there's like flies and shit. Mm, I do think when I think about stories that are praised in games a lot of the time, like I I don't wanna this is not shitting on anyone who like loves this game or whatever. This is not shitting on the game either itself, right? But something like Final Fantasy 14. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it has great elements, but to me it's the premise of a game that's this long where most of the presentation is two characters statically talking to each other, right? For hours and hours and hours is a little questionable. Um, to hold that up as a great story, I think is a little suspect. When hmm, hmm. Sorry for the awkward pauses, by the way, y'all. I'm doing this with the idea in the back of my mind that it has to be a fucking edited video, but in the end, um, again, I want to be really careful when talking about the type of person, for example, who really loves something like Final Fantasy 14. I don't want to make assumptions about them. I don't want to say, oh my god, they probably don't watch movies. Blah, blah, blah. But I do think when you see what is happening in film, right? With shit like Poor Things, for example. Again, sort of such a cursed comparison, but like sort of gives me a similar sense to Gurren Lagann, where it expresses its worldview so emphatically that I got so swept up in it, and it's so beautiful and just clears every video game, right? And then the same director, a couple months later, will something insane like Kinds of Kindness, um, where it just goes to places that in films are very, very common and very relevant to the human experience that you just never see in games, right? And um I can't I can't shake this feeling that that reality is just not really sort of top of mind in games discourse, right? That there is so much other shit out there. And I think once you realize, okay, I can get a great full experience, life altering experience, right? Something that I think about as I go about my day in 90 minutes, in the span of 90 minutes. That the element of time to me is so crucial in this. Games just waste so much fucking time. I think um I mean that's a whole topic onto itself, right? How much meaningful gameplay can you cram into a really short experience? I think Alien Soldier proves that you can have a game that's really deep, has varied situations, explores the potential of its mechanics to a very satisfying degree in a 40-minute runtime, right? Um, and then you could imagine a version of that game that also at the same time somehow conveys a theme or a story or whatever. I think generally the idea of conveyance, I like the word conveyance. Dark Souls is a game that I've talked a lot about with my friend. Dark Souls is a game that I've talked about a lot with my friends. That the the central theme of the game that I would identify is perseverance, right? And that it uses these metaphors of fire and dark, and the fire going out is sort of representative of humanity, and just this visual interplay, the sense of isolation that you feel when you're on this journey. It's again, it's a lot of things communicated very wordlessly in a way that lends itself really nicely to games. And um trying to compare that to a film, I think is stupid and not that super productive. I think just to for my sensibility for a game, that is the ideal type of story. Um And I wish that's something we talked more about than, oh my god, Final Fantasy 14. I don't even know what's supposed to be so good about Final Fantasy 14, right? I I haven't really seen people go into a lot of detail about it, and I guess maybe it's hard to talk about when the game is so fucking long and like you don't want to spoil it. Um, yeah. Uh, I think Nier Automata is a game that I, in retrospect, appreciate a lot. Like that game has a deep sense of maturity in its themes and the way it expresses those. Um, see, I've fought Ruby Seals about uh Bayonetta 2 once on Twitter, so I'm ready for her. I can take her. That's crazy. And like, God, I feel like I'm a good judge. Like that. See, that's actually super interesting because in the original comment, right? Acquisitive says, "Yeah, I know you're not a story guy." I don't know if that's true. I mean, I think people, because they sort of know my sensibilities with games, they think I don't care about stories, right? And uh um they're not aware of how many movies I see generally and how much I think about those. And um there's definitely a strange disconnect in that discourse. There's a strange disconnect of what do I consider a great story and what do you consider a great story? What do you look for in those types of experiences? Like personally, I just strongly gravitate toward things that are much more abstract, more thematic, more honestly more like emotional maybe, right? I don't really gravitate toward serial formats, endless amounts of characters. That's just not what I care about, what I'm interested in. And I think that's the type of thing that video game story people, I think, tend to look for. Oh, oh. Yeah, just say it's Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, exactly. That's why I again I said it's a dark Zia take because like I in my heart I sort of think it's true, but I don't want to say it because it makes me sound like a fucking asshole. Yeah. And I know it's just way too dismissive of other people. So okay, but yeah, interesting take. Um, so I think I could do two more. Um, mm, I just don't know. Do I want to talk about accessibility and like slash difficulty again? Is that really something we want to warm up? Um, or reheat? Mm, I don't know if I've. So, yeah, we gotta. So it's not as a. See my good, beautiful hunk of man friend Luke. He sent me this take. I'll show you. Paying for a game should not make you entitled to seeing all the content on the disc. Accessibility design is always something I champion, and it can elevate games in ways that goes unnoticed. But I think people tend to conflate it with difficulty in actually getting to that stuff. Like, I agree with this take, and I'm just not sure if anything to add to it. You know, it's like, um, is there some kind of new spin on the discourse that I'm not thinking of? Um, I wanna. This is actually totally unrelated, but I mean, one thing I thought of is like, I just hate the word preservation within the context of fucking big evil companies releasing games and then calling that preservation. Um, I think the word access is like much more apt, and that's why I thought like access, accessibility. Um, I think those are different things. Oh my god, I'm sweating. I I mean, I guess one thing I will say, this is probably not gonna go in the video. One thing I will say really quickly is that there's an inclination to use other mediums as a comparison point, but then the easy counter is like, well, why do films I don't know. Why does film or why does music have to be the model? Like, why does it have to be a rigid model that we're sticking to? Why is that a good argument? Um, uh, I think if you believe in the idea that the difficulty of a game is part of the artistic experience, um, then you should also believe in the idea that well, a developer can do whatever the fuck they want, right? My personal belief system is that I think interacting with the game should be as painless as possible for everybody, right? I think that needs to be the goal. I think every person on Earth should be able to get the same level of information from the game to the best of their ability, right? And to express their intent within the game to the best of their ability. The game should make that as easy as possible. But anything beyond that to me is like changing the game itself. See, I don't even care about that, honestly, about that aspect of the discourse. Like if you want to do it, go for it, man. Like I don't get, it's not something I would do. I would not do the Celeste assessment personally. It's just not what I believe in as a designer. Um but if you want to make games that way, just go for it. I just hate the entitlement of like, oh my god, I because like it's never people with disability. Well, okay, this is, I shouldn't say this now. This is too edgy. I was about to say it's never people with disabilities saying that shit. You know? It's actually just fucking, white people from California. See, now I did say it. Oh my god. Uh, just white liberals from California, dude. Um, Fucking let me skip boss fights. Let us skip boss. Shut the fuck up, dude. Oh my god. That's you. You just saw Evil Zed, okay? You just saw Evil Zed. This is not going on the video. Um. Anything? Do we have anything else to say on this? Yeah, I think the entitlement of like saying every game should do this, games are just not universal enough to even agree on that type of shit. Yeah. Like saying, okay, every single game ever should have an easy mode. It's like that means a completely fucking different thing in every game. Yeah. It's just not something you can mandate like that. In other mediums, you have, okay, for music you have a loudness standard. For films, you have subtitle standards and all that shit, right? Just do that. I mean, that with games is already so much fucking harder than with other mediums. Um, but like let's start with things that actually make sense. Just let me remap all the buttons, right? uh, oh my god, Balkar was so fucking awesome for that. He was so sick, dude. I love him. Well, it's like also, I mean, there's a level of um dishonesty in the discourse where um I mean, I've talked about this before. Again, this is insanely anecdotal, right? But this is insanely anecdotal. But I just know people who never played a Souls game, always complaining about them because they think it's the Souls series is like elitist and like, oh my god, they're not accessible. It's like ableist, blah blah blah. But then they don't have that same energy, for example, for Nintendo games where they don't let you like Zelda doesn't have an easy mode. The new Zelda games don't have easy modes, and fucking you have shit where, oh, you can't turn off the motion controls, which obviously is a problem if you have some kind of disability, right? Um, it's like I just know you just picked a thing to get upset about. You picked your enemy in this race, and you just you're going hard on that. See, I mean, um, like I believe in the remapping thing within reason. Yeah, I think to some extent, uh, I don't think you need to allow remapping to the extent that it changes the character of the game. Yeah. But then there's stuff like, I mean, like with Killer 7, right? If you have a disability, let's say your hand mobility is limited. Or let's say you only have one arm, right? Just you could remap that game in a way where you can operate it with a single arm, you know? And it wouldn't really change the intent of the game that much. In my opinion. Like, you would still be like, okay, I'm holding the big central button to run, and then I'm just using the same hand to aim. I can't think of many examples where it would drastically change the intent. Dude, Deus Ex 1, so fucking awesome. Mm. And I mean I think the thing about like button mapping is like it's such a specific individual thing anyway. Um so it's like okay, you have to be a very particular kind of person to like go in the settings and like make your own button mapping and all that shit, right? I think that is it's much less likely to really disrupt the artistic intent than um being fucking forced at gunpoint to have some kind of easy mode in your game, yeah. Or a god mode or some shit, yeah. Um, and if you want to do it, that's great. No one's stopping you from fucking doing it. Just don't tell me that I have to do it. Oh, my neck is fucking this over, dude. Hot Pocket, I see you on Twitter. Bay1 PKP is overpowered. Mm. Yeah, I've been sleeping without a pillow. That's been helping. Ever since I landed back in Germany, my neck has been fucked, dude. Cause like I did 40 hours of straight like upright sitting travel. Uh, that was not good. That was not good. I don't think it's anything super serious. It's literally I think it's like just a lot of tension. Um, but yeah. The 30 hours on the bus, honestly, I didn't really feel anything. I thought it was fine. But then the final flight home for 10 hours, I don't know what it was about it, but that shit ended me. Actually, I think the pain didn't quite catch up with me until like a little after I landed, I think. Like a week or so after. So that's how you know it's definitely not that serious. Like I'm not feeling pain in my shoulders yet or in my arms. Shut the fuck up, dude. Okay. Um, I got a really good take from Ashley about remaster, but like I think there's too much overlap with the remake stuff earlier. Well, not maybe I can save this for next episode. Um, actually, let me. So I got a couple more takes from Chili. Um, and the first one was like the one where I'm the most likely to actually. I just don't know if I have anything to say about it. Non-lethal options in games that are mechanically very similar to lethal is just a cope for people who want to play nice Magic Dragon goes. Um, I can't even think of like what's a game that's like that. I don't know. Sometimes playing a game only once can give you a clear idea of a game's flaws compared to those in 2D who try to find every issue of missing the force machine. Um, I kind of like this take actually. This one kind of interests me. Um, empty open worlds isn't a red flag since they tend to have more robust core systems to engage with. Oh, this one's interesting. To those that fill around with them. That is a very interesting take. But then again, it's like it is a little. I think that is a little too anecdotal and like a little too See, Assassin's Creed 1 definitely not a good example of that in my opinion. No, 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 no. I don't see that. I don't see it. Definitely not a game with Sonic Frontiers. I mean, I think MGS5 was probably what he was thinking of. Yeah. Or like Crackdown or something. Yeah. I mean, Crackdown isn't like necessarily empty. Yeah. I think I would need like more examples for that one, but that one was interesting. I think I'll do the one that's about playing games more than once. Okay. This is actually a good way to do Let's Argue because like I can get feedback for like what are good questions to put in the videos, and I can sort of respond to questions without necessarily putting them in the video. Yeah. Okay, we got it. Yeah, this will be the final question for today. And then honestly, guys, I was thinking of playing some Bayonetta, but I think after this I'm gonna lie down because like I need to rest my neck a little bit. A middle ground is neat, yeah. Okay. Chili asks. No. Yeah, we're about to turn 11 now. Chili says, sometimes playing a game only once can give you a clearer idea of a game's flaws compared to those in too deep who try to defend every issue, missing the forest for the trees. This is semi-related, but I can't help but think of the opposite scenario where, it's like a guy playing a game for 300 hours and be like, this fucking sucks. Y'all know what was the Dragon Guard 3 thing where the review is a thumbs down and then the first line of the review is, this is one of my favorite games. Was it Dragon Guard 3? I don't remember. Obviously, this is kind of an anecdotal take, but it is something that psychologically I'm just very interested in. We often debate about what is the correct way to judge a game. Is replay value something you should consider? Is it fair to slag off a game for losing steam on repeat playthroughs, for not holding up as well in repeat playthroughs, for being this mostly experiential thing that is fun the first time? That is definitely one sort of avenue where I see that idea kind of expressed a lot. Now personally, honestly, I think on the take that you're expressing here, Chili, I think I want to push back on that a little bit because this is something that Matthew Matosis has sort of talked about in his Beautiful Joe commentary, where he says that subsequent fairness is more important than initial fairness, right? It's more important that the game holds up over time, again, on repeat playthroughs, as you inspect it more, necessarily than the first time. That's something he values more. And then you could extrapolate the same idea to just the game as a whole, right? Where Bayonetta, classic example, the QTEs and all that shit, insanely off-putting on the first playthrough, surely, right? But actually an insanely small percentage of the entire experience once you really get down to it, right? Once you're honest with yourself and once you look at the entirety of what the game is doing, that is such a fucking blip in that cosmos that it's, to me, as someone who You know what? Maybe I'm reacting to this strongly because I am that guy with a game like Bayonetta, right? To me, it seems really silly to get hung up on the QTEs. I I don't take that seriously. And you are basically saying, yeah, I'm the type of person who is into deep. But I don't think that's true. I think I think in that instance, um I think because I stuck around with the game and because I learned to recognize the petty grievances for what they are, I think I have a little more authority over what the priorities of the game are. And I think that is a fair perspective. That is, I'm not necessarily going to say that judging it based on your first poor playthrough is invalid. I'm not going to say that. But then in turn I'm also not going to say that me just getting too used to all the shit isn't valid either. So that's where I stand. I guess I would need more examples maybe of games that have a similar dilemma of where that kind of conversation comes up. I wouldn't get to the point where I deny that XYZ thing is a problem, right? Mm, I guess the QTEs, for example, right? I wouldn't make an argument for, oh my god, they're actually secretly such an important ingredient of the game or whatever. I wouldn't do that. I'm not gonna do that. Um, but I will tell you, yeah, it's not that fucking bad. Okay, I think that's our final take. That's the end of Let's Argue. Um, yeah, let me say an outro into the camera. All right, that was it for our first return, reboot, remake, deluxe remaster. Let's Argue. Again, for the next episode, put your comments under this video or fucking send me on Twitter. I'm probably gonna make another tweet about this once I get in the mood for another episode. Again, subscribe, follow me on Twitch. Maybe you want to be on Twitch next time that I record one of these. You want to be in the chat and contribute. Support me on Ko-fi. Hope you had a great time and you have a great life. Okay, cool. I'm gonna edit this shit. I'm still editing this other video for Alan. That's in the lab right now. So I'm probably gonna focus on that. But then this one, oh, there's another beach gen actually that we're still editing. Um, what do I press? So definitely the Alan thing is that's my highest priority right now. This shouldn't be too challenging to edit, honestly. Like I didn't have too many pauses and um like obviously the stream has been going for almost 2 hours, but I think there was a lot of rambling and there's a lot of talking about shit that's where I'm like, okay, this obviously wasn't going to go in the video. Yeah. So I think I can cut it down to a reasonable amount. Can't take that Tsukimi video. Let's check how fucking how viral is the Tsukimi video. Beach Gen Game Club. It's almost at 1K views. That's a good video. It's like also the comments are hot. Like people are actually commenting on this one. This never happens on Beach Gen. That's just so disturbing. Oh, GK just chimed in with a really good one. Every game doesn't need to be preserved, let's argue. I mean, I could slide this one in, but every game doesn't need to be preserved, let's argue. But this wasn't, yeah. Ah. Okay. Because GK, preserve faith here. Because GK is a special boy. Maybe I was gonna make a whole video of this about like, let me show you the fucking tag actually. Um, how do I don't fucking know. Yeah, but y'all can't see it because I'm fucking stupid. Okay, there you go. I want to make a whole fucking video about this actually. About, again, I hinted at this earlier, preservation versus access. And that just the word preservation in the context of re-releasing a game kind of bothers me. So I think I'm just gonna use this as I don't want to blow all my load in the Let's Argue video when I think there's potential for a dedicated video. So I think I'm gonna use this as the setup. Yeah. As far as like, yeah, just general video discussion ideas. Obviously that thing, preservation thing. The title, I talked to Pang about this already. The title of the video is gonna be "Video Game Preservation is Easy," actually. So I want to do that. I want to do a video about grinding. I made that tweet about grinding a while back, and like, just the comments were so fucking bad, dude. Oh my god. So I'm gonna do that. And then I want to do something on Brat as well. Maybe, possibly. I don't know if that would pop off. Yeah. Oh. Y'all saw Ryan's private account. It didn't say anything anything revealing, but yep. Okay, y'all. I think it's time to end the stream. What the fuck? Thank y'all. Good night, y'all. I'm like so spaced out. The thing with the neck pain is like, some days it's like fine and some days it's worse. Like I just got to do way more stretches, honestly. Like I think that will help. That will fix me. Okay. I'm gonna dip. Probably no stream tomorrow. I'm probably just gonna focus on editing all that shit. Yeah. I'm gonna edit, like I said, Alan's video. Then y'all need to gas that shit. And probably gonna edit the Let's Argue after that. Then gonna edit the beach gen that's in the can. And then we're a good way into our Bayo 2 goal. So I think I talked about this with a couple people, but like I am one stage away. I literally have the final stage of Bayonetta 1 left to pure platinum on Nonstop Infinite Climax, and I want to do that on stream. I want to do that live on stream. So I think maybe making that my next stream, and then using that sort of as a donation incentive, maybe. I think could be a good idea. Could be fun. Cause like that is a special goal that I've been working toward for a long time. I think that deserves to be commemorated. Deserves to be shared with the world. Okay, I'm gonna go for real now. Bye bye everybody. Thank y'all for watching.